weekend or even the odd week. We're here for 2 months at least, possibly 3 or even 4. Shall we be able to stand so much reality for so long? There's another unsettling novelty about this visit, too. The long box, jammed among all the junk on the back seat, and held carefully in its place with 2 seat belts. Faint sounds are beginning to emerge from it. Kate twists round and gazes at the contents. "You did put the nappy rash cream in?" she asks. "We should have woken her up before. We'll have to feed her before we've even got the fire alight." "Yes. What will Tilda feel about the country? How will she and the mice get along? Will she find the cold and damp as bracing as we do? Will she appreciate the reality of everything?" I stop the car in the lake that collects in the dip by the wood where we found the dead tramp. "Perhaps we should turn around," I say. "Go back home." Kate looks at me. I remember too late that this will count as yet another example of what she sees as my infirmity of purpose, my alleged sudden shifts from one project to another. But all she says this time is, "I'll feed her in the car while you unpack. We'll leave the engine running." So we drive on, and the proposal to abandon the expedition is never put to the vote. And now, here we are. There's no sign to announce us, just a little track opening off to the left, and a certain unsurprised sensation of having arrived that we recognize, even if visitors wouldn't. Since we don't know anyone round here who might want to visit us, though, this isn't really a problem. We bump slowly up the track, but when we make the turn beyond the elders, from which this summer we're hoping to get around to making elderflower wine, it's not our familiar green front door that confronts us. It's a length of fraying baler twine. There's a lot of baler twine in real country. One of the ways you can tell this is real country is by how much of it's held together with the stuff. Not just bales, perhaps not bales at all. I've never seen bales of anything tied up with it. Bales of what, anyway? Everything else, though, black plastic sheeting, bright blue plastic bags, gates, trousers, agricultural machinery, everything that used to be secured with string or rusty barbed wire before baler twine was invented. It kinks and unravels, but no one ever throws it away, and it's made of plastic, so it never degrades. Some of it's pink and some of it's orange, so it shows up well against the rural greens and browns. This particular piece is pink, and it's tied across the rear of an ancient Land Rover to hold its tailgate shut. No question about the authenticity of this vehicle. It's as rural as a turnip. Kate and I look at each other. A visitor, and not some friend from London. A real country person. Perhaps, after only 2 years, local society is putting out friendly feelers. I get out to investigate. Still in the wrong shoes, still not in country mode, balancing delicately from island to island in the mud. There's a huge barking, and 2 dogs the size of full-grown sheep come bounding around the side of the cottage. I'm a little taken aback to be kept off my own property by guard dogs. No, not a little taken aback, quite substantially taken aback, smack into the mud I've been avoiding. I'm wrong about the dogs, though. They're not keeping me out. They're welcoming me to the country, enthusiastically thrusting their wet snouts into my groin and wiping their paws confidingly down the front of my sweater. By the time their owner appears around the side of the cottage as well, I look almost as real a part of the scenery as he does. And a more real countryman than him, neither Kate nor I have yet set eyes on. "He-yo," he says, in an effortlessly landowning kind of voice, and the dogs become instantly subservient. I'm tempted to lie at his feet myself, but find the ground a little too muddy, at any rate until I've got my country trousers on, and instead take the hand he's holding out. "Tony Churt," he says, "one of your neighbours." He has the grip of a man who's used to wringing the necks of wounded game birds. He's taller than me, and as I raise my eyes to meet his, I have plenty of time to take in mud-splashed boots, then mud-coloured corduroy trousers, and a mud-coloured checked jacket. There are holes in his mud-coloured jersey, and any hint of garishness suggested by the triangle of muddy green flannel shirt above it is counteracted by his muddy brown tie. He even has a gun, properly broken, in the crook of his arm. His long face stretching away above me toward a mud-coloured flat cap. It's the only feature that doesn't quite fit the prevailing colour scheme. It's simultaneously raw and bluish-grey, with little overlooked dribbles of dried blood where the razors nicked it.
"Thought you might be round the back," he says. "Skelton said you were coming down."
Mr. Skelton, as Kate and I call him, is the man who fixes the local pumps and septic tanks. We phoned ahead to book his services. I introduce Kate. Tony Churt raises the mud-coloured cap and reveals a brief glimpse of receding mud-coloured hair.
"Glad to meet you at last," he says. "I've heard so much about you both."
"From Mr. Skelton?" asks Kate. Though why not? A man who understands your sewerage might have a lot he could tell about you.
"From everyone."
"Everyone? The woman in the paper shop who knows which papers we take? Charlie Till, who knows what size of free-range eggs we prefer?"
"We're all so pleased to have you down here. Great bonus."
The country is finally taking us to its muddy bosom, and Tony Churt has a faint smell that I find instantly and reassuringly authentic. It's the sign that we've always missed in the few other people we've got near enough to sniff. Though exactly what it is I find difficult to say. There's dog in the mixture, certainly, and the tarry trace of oiled waterproofs. Also the harshness that goes with a certain kind of rugged woolen cloth. Something else, too, something stiff and morally bracing. Carbolic soap and cold water, perhaps.
"Laura and I wondered if you might like to come over one evening," he says. "Dinner, why not?"
"How kind of you."
"Nothing special. Say hello, tell you the local gossip, get you to tell us what's going on in the great world out there. We get a bit out of touch down here. Monday week, Tuesday, when would suit you?"
I mentioned Tilda.
"Bring her, of course. Wonderful. Plenty of rooms to park her in. Upward. Know where it is? So we'll say Monday week, then. 8-ish. That fit in with feeding times? We might possibly ask you to help us with a little advice while we're about it, if we may."
A little advice, of course. As I reverse to let him out, an alarm goes off inside the car with shattering loudness. Our clever little daughter is trying to warn us that someone is breaking into our lives. Do we know where Upward is? Yes, even we know where Upward is. It's the big, rambling house, half hidden in the trees at the head of our private valley. And now, of course, we know who Tony Churt is as well. He owns the valley. Well, not all the valley, not the patch of land around our cottage, for instance. Our property, as the urban owners of odd half-acres in the country like to tell you humorously in such circumstances, marches with his. The march isn't long enough to make either property very footsore, it's true, but it gives us a bond. We're fellow landowners, neighbouring proprietors, brother magnets. By the time I've got 3 fan heaters whirring and a great log crackling in the hearth, with Tilda full of her mother's milk asleep in front of it, and 4 assorted oil stoves scenting the rest of the cottage with a cosy stink of kerosene, we're in curiously high spirits. There are fresh patches of damp in a bedroom, it's true, and strange efflorescences on several walls. The mice have eaten the towels and left droppings inside the refrigerator. Other, more surprising changes have come to light, too. I put on a pair of country trousers that I find hanging in the bedroom closet, and can't get them done up round the waist. They've shrunk in the damp. Or is it me that's expanded? Am I catching largeness off Kate? I look at her moving slowly and bulkily about, stacking supplies of nappies on shelves. 3 months after the birth, and she's still enormous. She rolls a little as she walks. She does. She rolls. I laugh at her. She smiles at my laughter and frowns to know the cause of it. I don't say anything, but when she sits down on the long stool in front of the fire to gaze at Tilda, as the grey spring evening outside the windows deepens into night, and the 3 of us fill our little world, I come up behind her, lean over her, take 2 fat handfuls of face, and tilt it up to kiss, obscurely pleased that there's so much of her to love. Nor am I absolutely displeased that there's a little more of me now to love her. "So," I say, sitting down beside her,
We're in with the gentry. All our vague